It's shiny cars, wistful eyes, and roast beef for dinner. It's questions and answers, and I don't knows. It's finding true love and losing it and finding it all over again. It's music and sensation and grand finals and chocolate. It's spirituality and inspiration and money and traffic jams. It's disaster and heroism and paperclips and knowing when to breathe. It's flirting and tasting and curiosity. It's fast and it's slow and it's rising and falling. It's every moment, every hope, every dream, every piece of the cosmic puzzle. It's life, and it's yours. Scientology. Know yourself. Know life.
I'm here with Alex, spokesperson for the Church of Scientology Australia. I think many people have heard about Scientology, maybe from the media, but they still don't know what Scientology is or what your beliefs are. What really is Scientology?
Well, Scientology is based on the works of philosopher and humanitarian L. Ron Hubbard. And Scientology is an applied religious philosophy that a person actually has skills and tools to apply to life. It addresses the spirit as well as the body and the mind, but we believe that a person is actually more than just a product of their genes or an environment. And the main things that we believe in Scientology are that a person is an immortal being, that his experience extends more than one lifetime, and that his capacities or his capabilities include many more things that are unlimited, even though they might not be realized right now.
Wow, great. And, okay, so now, what is this building right here?
Oh, well, this building is this is the most advanced of a Scientology organisation here in Australia, New Zealand and Oceania. So this building actually accommodates many people from different areas around the world where they can achieve spiritual enlightenment and also train as Scientology ministers or as a Scientology auditor. This building is one of about 7 that are in Australia, and they're expanding. Like we have renovations being done in the church in Sydney, in Melbourne and New Zealand, and also one that is about to be renovated in Taiwan, which will be the actual seat of Asia for Scientology. We're actually opening 3 more advanced organisations in Canada, South America and South Africa. They're also part of about 8,000 churches, missions and groups internationally. So we're expanding pretty rapidly. We've actually expanded in the last 5 years more than we've actually expanded in the last 50. So it gives you a bit of a better idea of the scope that we have and the different areas we have of Scientology where they can be located. But let's go and take a look inside.
Wow, this is a large building.
Yeah, it is, but as large as it is, we're actually finding new premises to actually renovate and move into because we're just busting at the seams. In addition to that, in other places in the world, we've got one recently opened in Malmo in Sweden. There's one in Washington, D.C., another one opened in Rome and in Nashville and also in Dallas.
Now, why are so many people interested in Scientology?
Well, I believe that there's probably a spiritual vacuum. People deep down know that there's a spiritual part of their lives. Scientology is something that actually can teach a person about themselves and about life. And it's actually practical things you can apply to life yourself and something you can see, rather than being a faith or a dogma. So Scientology offers practical application to a spiritual improvement of a person's life. Now, this is the course room.
So now, why does Scientology have courses?
Well, the main part of Scientology is the study of the religious scriptures written by L. Ron Hubbard. And the way to actually study Scientology is through practical application. So you study the theory and then you apply it to life. So it's not just reading text, it's actually reading the text, understanding the information and being able to apply it to life. It's necessary for one to study why things happen in life. So why things happen to you, why things happen in the past and in your environment, in order to have a better understanding of the world around you and yourself. So there are 2 sides to Scientology. The auditing, which you achieve personal religious freedom, as well as training, which you understand how life works, as well as being able to help another person.
Cool. So now, what happens up here?
Okay, so in Scientology we have a special spiritual counselling, which is where a person is able to alleviate traumas from the past and in their present life. In Scientology we have two parts of the mind. So you have the mind that's aware, which is called the analytical mind, and then you have the reactive mind. Now the reactive mind comes into play at times of pain and unconsciousness, and then these things get recorded. So if you have an accident or an injury, the recordings of this go into the reactive mind and then cause upset, irrational behaviour then in the future. And then with this place you have spiritual counselling where people can alleviate any forms of things from the past and in present life. Auditing is from the Latin word called audere, which means in Latin to listen. An auditor is somebody who just listens to a person and their problems and things that happened in the past. Now this thing on auditing is actually covered in Dynamics, the Modern Science of Mental Health by L. Ron Hubbard. And as you can see by this chart, this is a grade chart. And it shows you the different routes that you take. Now, the goal of a person in auditing is actually to achieve the state of clear. And this is the eradication of the reactive mind completely. Now, a person who's doing this is a trained auditor. So there's two sides to this. A person can actually receive auditing, which alleviates past upsets, and they also train to be an auditor to actually help another person to do this.
Great. And also now, there is so much talk about the e-meter. So what exactly is an e-meter?
Well, an e-meter is short for electropsychometer, and it is an instrument that actually is a spiritual guiding instrument, which just helps a person who is the auditor to locate certain parts of incidences in the person's mind that they're not willingly or might not necessarily have conscious awareness of. For example, say if you had an incident where you nearly drowned when you were a child. This incident is very painful, so then you shut that off from your mind. So in auditing, for the person to be able to actually look at this incident, the e-meter is used to locate those particular times. All it does is direct the auditor to what areas to actually audit. Now I'd like to show you something special, so let's go to the bookstore. Here you can see that this is a materials guide chart. It has every single title, every book and lecture that L. Ron Hubbard has ever written. Now Scientology is based on these scriptures, and it's very important that these are actually kept pure and exactly in the form that L. Ron Hubbard wrote them or gave the lecture. Now recently there was a mammoth project done to actually make sure all the lectures were restored to the original quality. We have a massive restoration project that was done in the United States. So any lectures that had any distortions or any voice dropped out were fully restored to what they would have been at the time. Also with the books, there was a very long project done to make sure the books were exactly what they were when he wrote them without editorial alterations or anything missing of them. So here you see now all the materials are available for anyone to study. This chart is something that a person, anybody can follow, whether they're coming to Scientology newly or if they've been a Scientologist for many years. They follow this chart, and this is the study that takes them to full understanding of themselves as a spiritual being and somebody who actually can apply this to their lives and to others. Here you can see some of the titles. Now these are the basic books that anybody can start on. And you would take one of the books, which usually starts with Dynamics of Modern Science of Mental Health, and then read each book as they went in sequence they were written to gain a complete understanding of what Scientology is, what you as a person are, and how life is and how you operate in life.